Hello, my name's Kevin O'Brien. This is my garden. I've lived here about 25 years, or not quite 25 years. I've always been interested in gardening. I think it runs in the family. Like most gardeners of my age, I used to help my father, and I probably helped my granddad when they had the allotments, and that interest has carried on. I'm lucky to have quite a large garden, and really I'm interested in the whole aspect and whole range of gardening. I like growing vegetables, I like taking cuttings, growing trees. I like to grow bedding plants, particularly annual bedding plants. I suppose when I was younger I'd set a packet of seeds and I could only plant perhaps a quarter of the seeds because I didn't have the room. It's nice to have the space now to plant large beds and to be able to plant the larger plants in. I also like trees. I've got quite a few unusual shrubs and trees which we've collected from all over the country, different nurseries, different gardeners, and we like growing fruit, and basically all aspects of gardening. Well, it's Easter Sunday and we're busy in the garden as we are nearly every other day of the year. The danger of frost is not gone, but it's the time of year to set some of the more tender vegetables. So this is the pumpkins that have been set, and hopefully they'll be okay, give us a good crop for Halloween. And of course what we have to do as well is we have to keep watering. It's unseasonably hot, so we're having to water 2-3 times a day, and I'm also turning the plants around a little bit as well so that they grow evenly. Hopefully later on this week or next week, the likes of these zinnias, we'll be able to pot them on into bigger pots. I like to set the seed individually and grow them in these recycled trays that are cadged off the local garden centre, and there's perfectly grown plugs that we've grown ourselves, and it's such a lot of joy and pleasure in doing that. And obviously we're doing it this way, you don't have to touch the roots and they get away quicker. This area of the garden is quite unusual because it's very, very dry. You can see we've got the large eucalyptus here, and standing in the literally 2 foot away is this very rare, unusual shrub called a Dipelta. Dipelta floribunda. Beautiful flowers there, and that's going to flower for a few more. Right, this is the folly garden, what we're quite pleased with. We built the folly out of stone, bricks and all sorts that we actually cadged and begged and borrowed off people, so the material cost was nil, which was quite pleased with. The 2 aces, pretty pleased with them as well. They come from, I shan't mention any names, they come from a German supermarket about that high 5 or 6 years ago, and they were about £2 each, so that's as good a plant as you could want. That's Acer Katsura, wonderful colour in the spring and the autumn.
Good.
This is the engine room of the garden, and we compost everything we can. We shred, we compost, we collect leaves, and it's not the prettiest area, but it's a very practical area. This is the Pyracantha arch. I'm quite pleased with it, but what I didn't expect was it's cast a lot of shadow, and I've got today's job, or the next job, I've just raked this area and we're going to set some special shade lawn seed and see if we can get it to green up again. Right, this shrub is called Viburnum plicatum mauricii, and it's got what we'd call a tabulated form, and it's just about to come into full flower, and it's spectacular. This is one of the shrubs that seems to be confused by the global warming, as you can see these dead flowers where it warmed up in the spring and it flowered, and it warms up in the autumn and it'll flower, but this is actually the time of year that it should flower. There's different parts of the garden are good at different times of the year. Particularly this is quite nice at the moment. Most of the polyanthus and primulas are self-set, forget-me-nots are self-set, but we've got some quite unusual trees and shrubs. We've got this Tilia henriani, which is a rare Chinese tree, Chinese version of the standard lime that everybody knows about. We've got the contorted hazel, which is quite well known. And then there we have Ace agricium. We've got Ace of Phoenix here, which is beautiful red growth on the new wood, which is quite outstanding, quite unusual that. And you believe it or not, that's self-set from just a bird dropping a bit of seed there.